cross.
There you go. Okay. All right. So you've written all these books. You've coached with, mentored, coached amazing number of people, like high-end, influencers, business owners, athletes, coaches of big teams. A lot of people know you've sold millions of books. But let's go back to like where that wasn't you. Like, what does pre that look like?
Pre that is I'm miserable.
Okay.
I'm negative, and my life is falling apart because I lost my job during the .com crash. So I don't know how I'm going to pay the bills. I don't know how I'm going to take care of my family. We had just moved from Atlanta to Jacksonville, Ponte Vedra Beach. My wife wanted to move to the beach. I'm working for this .com. I thought I was going to make a fortune.
Yep.
I had 100,000 shares. Like, this is it. I'm 30 years old. Like, my future is set. And then everything crashes. Lose my job. How am I going to take care of my family? What am I going to do? Where can I make the kind of salary I was making with this move? And so I was crumbling. And I was blaming my wife for why my life was so bad. Like, why I wasn't living up to my dreams. And she had enough of my negativity. Catherine said, if you don't change, like, we're over. She goes, I love you, but I'm not going to spend my life with someone who makes me so miserable. You need to change. And so I begged her to stay. She agreed to stay. And I agreed to change. And that began this journey of working to become a more positive person. So I started researching ways I could be more positive. This was during the emerging field of positive psychology. We're talking 2001, 2002 now.
Yeah.
And so I started practicing some of these ideas. I started to take a walk of gratitude every day. The research shows you can't be stressed and thankful at the same time. So every day I'm practicing gratitude, and I'm walking, and I'm saying what I'm thankful for. And when you're doing that, you're flooding your brain and body with these positive emotions that uplift you, rather than the stress hormones that slowly drain you and over time will slowly kill you if you let them. And so each day I'm doing this. I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to see an impact. My wife's noticing a difference in me. So doing little things like that every day just started to change me. And I realized, like, I've been on a quest to try to be better myself, but that led me to then wanting to help others get better. But it started with just doing these things for myself on a daily basis. And then next thing you know, I start writing a weekly positive tip. And I would send these tips out. And this was like before there was email newsletters, but I started one of the first email newsletters. And I had 5 subscribers. My mother, my brother, best friend from college, no joke. I'm sending it out.
That's all you need.
Yeah, they were getting that newsletter whether they liked it or not.
Yep.
And then I started to get some feedback. Oh, this is great. And they started sharing it with friends. And I would meet people. I'd get their email.
Yeah.
I would send it to them. Then I'd meet another person. I would send them the newsletter. And it just started with that. And that began this journey of doing this work. But I was always a go-getter. I was an entrepreneur. Now, when I knew I wanted to write and speak, while I'm doing that newsletter, I decided I need to support my family. So I can't just be a writer and speaker and make money right away. So what can I do? I was in the restaurant business when I was in Atlanta. At 24 years old, I owned a bar in Buckhead. So that was my first sort of business. Was able to get some investors together. We opened up this bar, and it became a hot spot. It was called Park Bench, like one of the cool places in Buckhead. The Olympics was coming to town. We thrived during the Olympics. It was a great time. Now, then next thing you know, I get involved in the .com. I'm not there so much. My partner starts stealing from me. And so they bought me out of the business. And then I took that money and we went down to Jacksonville. So I thought maybe I should get back into this business somehow, some way, because I'm pretty good at it. I know it. And hopefully it can make us enough money that would allow me to then do what I really want to do, and that's write and speak. So I opened up this Moe's, second mortgage my home, $20,000 in credit cards, and every dime I had to open up this first Moe's in Jacksonville, Florida. It was the 5th Moe's in the entire country, first in Florida, not knowing if it's going to work. So that was like a terrifying time, like as an entrepreneur trying to make this work. But that's who I was, like learning how to grow my business, to survive, to make money, to make payroll, hire people. And so there I am, flying the neighborhoods in the area. There was a huge movie theater near us. My wife and I literally put flyers on every single car. We were trying to sell caterings to the local businesses, everywhere and anywhere, just to survive.
Yeah.
I wasn't a faithful person at the time. I didn't have a lot of spiritual faith. And that was where my faith was born, though, because I was in deep trouble. Like, we were almost bankrupt several times. I had what I call my Jerry Maguire moment, like, God, show me the money, God.
Yeah.
Like, show me the money. Help me help you. Help me help you. Because I kept on saying, God, provide for my family, and I will do your work. That's what I kept saying, just provide for my family. Because there were moments that I was pale white, terrified, But it was amazing. One time I thought we weren't going to make it. I told my wife, I don't think we're going to make it. She said, it's okay. Somehow, some way, we're going to make it. I said, I don't think so. I went upstairs. I prayed. Now I finally was reaching out. I prayed, God, please help my family. Help me. Help me get through this time. Provide for me. I'll do your work. And I'll never forget this feeling of peace came over me like no other. And I was filled with the knowing, this belief that somehow, some way, it's going to work out. Everything happens for a reason kept coming to me. Okay, so let's continue to promote it. Let's continue to market it. Started doing some radio advertising with the little profit we had. Next thing you know, starts growing, starts becoming more successful. Then a company reaches out to me. They're a web development company. I was selling wireless technology. That was the .com I was part of. We were bringing literally data information to mobile phones from the very beginning. I sold the NFL on NFL Wireless.
Really?
We were the first
That's funny.
company to do that for them. I sold them on that idea. So now that was happening, but I was no longer in that business, and I never knew the technology of it. I would say, okay, here's your data, here's your device, we're in the middle.
Yep.
And that's all I would say.
That's all you need to know.
But then this company says, teach us how to do it. I said, I don't know how to do it technically. They said, no, teach us how to sell it. We'll pay you $13,000 for 6 weeks of consulting. Out of the blue, that just happened. That money literally carried us till we made our first profit in the restaurant. And after that, became wildly successful. I sold my several restaurants that I then opened up after that for about $1 million. And then after that, said, okay, now I could focus on writing and speaking 100%. So now we're 2005, 2006. But then I'm really struggling because I sell the restaurants, the money's running out, we're living off this money, and the writing and speaking is not going well. It's not happening.
Yeah, because that's not a guarantee.
No,
Yeah.
but I think it's going to happen. My wife did not want me to sell the restaurants. Catherine's like, no, don't do it. She's like, it may not work. I go, there is no other option. I can't do anything else. I have to do this. There is no plan B. I'm walking one day. Again, I'm praying, really stuck in the wilderness in many ways, and the idea for the energy bus comes to me. And
Was that the first book?
First book.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, I had two other books, I should say. Two other books that I tried to do sort of on my own in a way. And the interesting thing about that was I did those two books while I had the restaurants and was building up a speaking brand in a way. Got on the Today Show with one of those books. Everyone said my career was going to take off. It was a 4-week series, Get Energized Today. I coached Ann Curry, Katie Couric, Lester Holt, all of them, these people on the show. It was an amazing show. It went really well, but then after that, everything died.
Yeah.
Everything went down. It was crazy because those books were not meant for me, and that was not my core message I was going to share. The energy bus was meant for me. So here I am, everything is not happening. Now I'm in the wilderness again, and I take that walk, and the idea comes to me with the book, and I wrote that book in 3.5 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, rejected by over 30 publishers though. Told to give up.
Yep.
It's not going to happen. My agent said, give up. It's not going to happen. But I couldn't because I had my mission to encourage and inspire as many people as possible, one person at a time. I always tell people, you got to have a vision, you got to have a mission. We don't get burned out because of what we do. We get burned out because we forget why we do it. And you need that telescope and microscope. Big picture vision, but zoom focus action every single day. What actions are you taking to realize this picture that you had? And that's what I was doing on a daily basis, trying to make this happen somehow, some way. And eventually, John Wiley & Sons agreed to publish the book and came out, and not one bookstore would carry it. So I went on a 28-city tour, paid for it by myself. Publisher wouldn't pay for it. And I go from city to city. 5 people in one city, 10 people in another, 20 in another.
This was before podcast, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Well, that was way easier.
Well, you know what's funny? I prayed for it to be a bestseller. It came out, it was a bestseller in Korea. I learned you have to be specific with your prayers. It was like this huge hit in South Korea, not North Korea, but South Korea was huge. Literally, no, South Korea was like a top 5 bestseller.
Wow.
So imagine this, huge bestseller in South Korea, but not one bookstore in the United States would carry the book. So my publisher, he was a smart aleck. He called me the David Hasselhoff of Korea. So I go on this tour and it's not going well. The most people we had were 100 people in Des Moines, Iowa. They thought Jeff Gordon was coming. That's why they showed up. Got home, didn't know what the future held, but I knew that I had this vision and mission and just live it and breathe it every day. So here we are now, all these years later, and I get to share that message all the time from that book.